Hello and welcome. Sorry, I was just bemused. I've made it wider, as you can see, and it really is a ramp now. I've also done the dangerous thing. I often say what I do is normally use Giants mods as a backbone, a skeleton, you could say, and then I'll do the mod myself and I'll destroy the remnants of the Giants mod. But then, of course, you've got to like make sure all of your XML is correct and links to the right map inside your mod. So it is now pretty much done, and I've got rid of all of the doors and the gates. They just are free entries, except for would that no it's linked to the metal on the right. I'm always trying to look for the physics, like am I like linking to nothing? That's why the ramp's a solid ramp, so it really is, and then that bit would link into the top section and also be tied to the metal floor above. But I think this is about right now. Doesn't really take up any room down here. There should no longer be any. In fact, it shouldn't now say. If I jump out and press this, it says as it's not working. Why is that not bringing up my help? Oh, you know. Okay, we'll need to do it the old-fashioned way then. Oh, I know what it is. Sorry, it's not registering my mouse inside the program. Right, 1 second. Apologies for this. Yeah, I was going to say it should be. That's better. Right, you shouldn't now show you open gate at this point because there is no gate to open. I might have to, yeah, like bring these back in. I don't think these ever did open. I don't think. They were always there as sort of an ornament. The ones that did open, which I may well have to, I couldn't see the gates for this. I can't remember. I think they did open. But yeah, this, I'm not sure if the metal part of it did. I know that it had a door on the outside and that did, but obviously I have got no doors, so I deleted the doors. But I'm sure as I was deleting it, I was quite careful. And it showed the small single door. So in other words, you get to this point and then Giants never, I don't think you could open the door. That's why I put the posts in, because these were like hanging on nothing, because really they're against the building. So still not happy with that. Yeah, it's weird. It's got some sort of weird, it's because I tipped it the wrong way around. I've got 2 water hydrants facing each other because I thought the model looked quite nice for what I wanted to achieve. I think that bit of slurry stroke manure inside is like looking a bit worse for wear. But apart from that, I've got my fence now matches, although I think I need to move that across a bit. I've got like 3 and then a big space. These are the sort of things that sometimes you make mistakes as well as you're getting a bit tired. And like you don't check something, you move it and then you like think, but it's only, that's why I love to have a bit of a wander around and see, well, what is it? Yeah, because there was a huge gap here where a cow could have easily got out. So I put these in, but I've not actually done the spacing of the poles properly. So, and that is, there should be a grate there, that's not showing either. So I might need to bring another grate in, or it might be a drop below the ground. It could be that as well. So I need to do this. Apart from that, I think everything now, as you've seen me driving around, yeah, my chains on me lights, and they need, like, you can just see like about 1 single link coming through the roof on most of them, and then those over there, they're all right, but the links, it's not quite right, but it should block you as well. Yeah, it should be solid. It's classed as a placeable building collision, so it should really do as you've seen it doing, which is brilliant. Let me just switch my zone markers on. Yeah, I noticed in when I was moving the animals, you couldn't see the zone markers, so I went into the model and realised actually they'd gone behind the wall because it's slightly bigger, so I've moved them out. Yeah, so basically this mark here, although it's got the trigger's bigger, but the marker, it was the other side of the wall, so basically I could still hit the trigger, but there was no mark. And the same as this, the trigger for the milk's massive, so you can easily get to that, but the marker again was behind the wall. So that's all fixed now, as you can see. Got a few errors on shader errors and weirdnesses. I'm not going to bore you with the details. No. So this is looking pretty... I had a bit of a horrific moment though, I've got to be honest. I came in earlier, and it had disappeared, and I thought, oh no, what have I done? It was a syntax error. Yeah. Oh, that was the other thing I meant to do as well. I wanted to make this look like it was always here, so that back wall is like almost like mountain, or like it's that kind of a thing, because a bare earth thing, it looks exactly like it actually is, doesn't it really? So let's quickly do that. I want it to look fine. No, that's the one we want. Which one are we gonna do? Forest stone? No, I think that's not what you think it is. It's not for this type of thing, I don't think. Maybe. It's not too terrible. Not sure. We're having it now. Apologies for the silence. Yeah, artist at work. Not a very good one, but an artist nevertheless. I do enjoy this, I must admit. I do like this as one aspect of modding. Not this particular one, but like the making of the buildings and everything. I'm beginning to get into it now. I was to begin with, I was not sure about it, but I recognise in myself as well that you, and you're not bragging, you sort of realise that your proficiency is getting better. Right, smashing. Just need to, I think we'll do a bit of grass on the top, I think, just to make it look a little bit realistic, and finish it off. And then we'll put some proper grass just to... I always think the devil's in the detail. I didn't always think like that, but I've got to be honest, as I've... even just being as a content creator as well, I realised that I was a bit slap happy with this type of detailing, where I didn't really finish things off very well at all. And I would often leave green carpet, as I call it, the giant sort of grass. Just leave that as. Mind you, in FS22, in my defence, actually some of that was down to the cost of grass. I've got to be honest, playing the start from scratch, your money is very, very limited usually, and I've never really played a rich farmer terribly much. One where I don't usually hang around. I love the challenge of going from nowhere, and when I get like to 1 million and 3 million and stuff like that, I'm bored, because it's just not. That's not what I'm about. It's the challenge of the game, trying to burst out from having absolutely nothing to sort of like being a successful farm, whatever that means to me, really. And that's what I'm saying. It all means something completely different to each one of us, really. That's what a successful farmer is. And also what makes you tick as a sort of person. And I realise that with myself, it's more of the challenge than it is anything else. Yeah, I did realise this needs a little bit of painting as well, doesn't it? So I think we'll do this, my favourite. Yeah, I've made myself another one of the cow barn things. We could swap it out now. It was only really... It's just... Yeah, I don't want this bare earth either. I might actually paint that inside, because, yeah, I suppose I'm leaving it for the player to do this, because it sort of all worked out in the cost of the building that it's just planted on bare earth, and that's part of the reasoning for why the cost is so low, which is true. Let's just get rid of that cow barn sign. Well, let's just see first of all to make sure that it actually should be the same as that, only in red. Again, I won't have seen this one. I did it just as I left earlier. So there should be 4 of these now. I think it'd be 2 now without pictures. Oh. Oh, so it's not taken the... Well, that's a bit odd. I definitely applied the diffuse. Oh, okay, well, it's done the same one. So obviously it's weird. The editor is doing strange things, and I'm not just saying that to like be awkward. I did definitely save it, or maybe I've got COVID. I've got to realise I'm not at my best. So your concentration isn't what it normally is. I sort of feel this is one of the few things I can actually do, which is create content. I can't concentrate properly on hardly anything. This is automatic pilot job. Right, so then we're up to 312,000 after all the dusters. We've got a massive area of this now. We've got a huge field of grass, which reminds me, I think we've got the down at the shop. We have got our plough. We are going to need that, I think. Yeah, we are. So, do you know something? Yeah, I'd like to see how well the tractor that we're nearest is good in the hands of a worker. I'd like to see if it can make it without anything on it, just as just the tractor. Can it actually go that far, do that without, and then we're going to literally, I'd like to prep the fields. I'd like to get these like bits in the middle cut out, although we can't plant grass yet, can we? No, but we can at least plough everything out. We can. We need a stone picker, don't we, as well? That's one thing that so far we've not bought, is it? Oh, and also we've got some things to... Yeah, we have. We've got things to buy. I just want to see how... Whether the... typical. Right next to the... Yeah, I still think it's going to get snarled up at that corner of the S-bend there. No, not there, sorry. It's there. That one there, which it seems to struggle with. Right, let's just have a look, because we know it all. I just want to see how it drives. Well, seems solid as a rock to me, yeah, and seem to be struggling. Right, okay, then let's get this trailer load of... Yeah, you will do. You've not had much of an outing, have you? Yeah, I don't think we've got a stone picker, have we? I'm sure we never got... We never thought about anything that, because we're not... and it's obviously the thing is, if we're going to buy the fish thing, we do need to do quite a lot of arable to... Yeah, because it's all oil-based. Now, I can build an olive, but that means it's only one of the... Let's just have a look at the fish food mod quickly, so you can see what I'm on about. Yeah, so we've got the Super Fish Food Factory. Well, each one of them, they all need soybeans. I haven't designed a soybean greenhouse yet, but I could do, especially for the Let's Play. Now, I haven't designed an oil... like sunflower, but I have got an olive oil, an olive greenhouse now that I've had for a long time. So again, I could design an oil-based one for doing all of the oils, which would not necessarily be a bad thing. I've got my pyramid greenhouse. I could actually do that as the first one, which would then mean all we've got to do is soybeans, which, as we all know, is quite a terrible thing to actually do. So if we're going to do that, let's just have a look, because I would imagine they're not far off that nasty bend. Let's just see how Sharon does approaching this nasty thing under the railway bridge. Yeah, and then we're going to sell a bit of wood chips. Let's just have a quick look, so we've got a few seconds. Wood chips, yeah, so 17,000. It's not, it's not going to make us a fortune. I said that, but it's not a rubbish amount. I was amazed by the amount we got for the slurry, though. That was just shocking. Like 881 or something like that. I'm like, seriously? Thousands of litres of slurry for just nothing. It's a bit like Digestate once until Missy B did her cheeky mod, the Slurry Yard. Really, it was another thing that was totally useless, and yet really it's a form of fertilizer. It is weird. It's just that the game sees it as absolutely no value, but I'm quite sure that it is true that it's probably not a sellable product by itself. Now then, this is the bit I'm sure. Let's just see and view, Sharon, because this is the bit where they go into the fence. Well, that was funny because it did veer sharply towards the fence, but then perhaps... Well, that's quite amazing because Sharon actually managed to do it. Amazing, because it is definitely that bit. We got caught every single time with that particular thing. So it might be that the BIAB's steering is enough to actually counterman whatever. It's got to be something that Blacksheep Modding has done, though, in the spline on that corner. It's got to be that all tractors have all been caught like that. This grass field is a bit odd as well, with all these weird lines. Let's have a quick look. Can you see it from, if you visit it and like look above? Can you see? Yeah, you can, can't you? Should we rip it up and redo it? Because that is a bit odd, all those little weird lines, because the grass is not proper. So I think we'll rip that field up, and we'll rip the two separators between all three fields, and then we'll cut across the top, and I think we will eventually smooth this so it's quite a flattish piece across there that actually gains us quite a bit more farmyard, being as we lost the big shed in the middle, which is such a shame that we've had to do that, really, but it is, the game is a mess. It really is, and I hate having to say that. I keep saying I'm always trying to stay positive with this, but bottom line is, right, we're near there now. I think we can take over. Well, that was the very first successful journey we've seen, so this is the vehicle that actually managed to do it with super steering that the workers seem quite capable of using. Oh, but I'm not. No, it's a bit sensitive, I've got to be honest. The other thing is you get used to the other tractors, and because this is as sensitive as it is, it's severely sensitive. I mean, like, I'm a bit like this. When I jump into the Sin track, that's another vehicle that's very much like this. That's just super. Now then, no, isn't that? That's a suit factory. Yeah, it is the Sin track. You've been in a normal tractor and then you jump into the Sin track. The steering mechanism is so very... Oh, I've still not done that diesel thing. But we will take our weight as well, because we did pay for this. We let the store borrow it. They'll have to buy one themselves next time they need it. Although I don't think we're going to be doing any of those heavy things again. So, yeah, this is the type of weight this would need to balance it out for things that are too heavy at the back. You're talking that heavier weight. Let's just push that out of the way. It's such a shame that is. I'm sure I put 1,000 litres in it. Sure I did. Yeah, odd. Now, I suppose really this has been as good a test on the way back as it was on the way, because this at least has got things on it now. Do we need anything else while we're down here? I don't think this can manage much more, although that is a pass-through 3 points on the back of this, so it is very good. No, we don't need that at all. Right, let's try that again without trying to call for a worker. So I'm expecting it to get stuck at the... let's just do that opposite hour. Now that might have been me. I might have clicked a little bit. So I say it is true what I've always said about this. You've really got to zoom in. Yeah, like I wasn't zoomed in properly, which means I need to like zoom out there because I can't see. Yeah, that's where I am. when you zoomed out, you click on what, now I've noticed this myself and I'm sure you all have as well, where you click on something but really you're clicking on the tree here, because you can see a tractor if you zoomed in that you've parked here and it's like here, and you think, oh okay, so it's that magnification. Okay, we're not on the main road, but I shouldn't really make a difference like that. That's odd. Right, that's a little bit odd, but it's, yeah, I mean, it's not perfect. This we can perfectly see that it's definitely not perfect, but it sort of does the job. You can't be too. That's it. This is perfect. So let's grab the wood, the chips, get them sold. And then when that gets back, we're going to do the yeah. So I think we completely filled the new animal. Did we top up our old little uns? No, but they're not in need of anything, are they really? Yeah, TMR, straw also plenty. They're up to 9,000 litres of a unit, and they're now 5 months old and worth almost 3 times what we paid for them. So, I mean, it is true, you could, if you really wanted, you could just fatten them up a little bit. And I would imagine some farmers, probably for the quick turnover of cash, might well do something like that. And then other farmers are in it for the longer haul, probably buy those and they're paid a little bit more than the tiny ones. Right, so then. Excellent. Well, at least we can now go down this way without doing that severe. Yeah, the way it is a strange one. I was thinking, I was watching in editing the session where we did this, and I thought, yeah, but Blacksheep Modding designed this to be used, but obviously the wall of the old place was, and I thought, well, yeah, but you can hardly get around. I thought, well, look, even master map makers, you know, or they were thinking of little tractors that can turn on a dime. Maybe that as well. Right. So we shall see if that driver makes it around that severe double S bend. Yeah, it's a shame you can still see things being drawn. You know, on all the maps, all the poles that get filled in and stuff like that. That filled that a little bit odd. It's all at the back. Yeah, now that obviously you can see that was more than the 17,000 that we should have done by 6 odd thousand, which is that extra bonus I was telling you about. You get an extra 33%. So for almost everything, apart from obviously if you've got the slurry yard is the king of such things. I can't match that unless I was to make slurry, which I could do it, but I would never want to. Missy B's a modder that I've and also it gives a bit of credibility to that. There's a special thing that does only that. If you could just sell slurry, everyone's sell point specially for that, then it's yeah. I don't know how she did it, but I don't want the magic of that to ever be ruined. Or I did say this once before, I don't want to like borrow that. As far as I'm concerned, if ever I'm going to do that kind of thing on a Let's Play, it'll always be using Missy B's slurry yard. I'm not going to try to undermine her with a cheap thing that just buys and sells thing. I'm well chuffed though that the ramp does need re-imaging. Though I can't stand it's so awful. So real, it uses the same. The weird thing is, it's the same image as this. The grungy slab, as I call it, grungy concrete. That's the quality of that. You can see it on the top bit, but it's awful on that one. And I tried to alter the scaling, so maybe the scaling I was too far out. Maybe. Now this is the difference between someone like Blacksheep modding and me. I'm still getting a feel for that kind of thing for scale when you're doing your mods. And MA7 Studios, they get the wood effect on that is just so tremendously good in every single way. It is, and that's the difference between a modder. They get a feel for it, really, on how to do such things, and it is really quite amazing. I'd imagine our workers are about there. Wow. So we seem to have found the secret weapon, the only tractor so far that we've actually found that can actually make the route. The BIAB. We have our secret weapon. This will be well, we've got two, haven't we now? So, yeah, we could take the flat. Now, that would be interesting to see how the flatbed fares on the back of this. It should be fine. Right, anyway. This actually is capable of doing this, but I don't know. Yeah, let's do this. Get this job done. Are we going to... I think we'll time-lapse it because there's quite a bit to do more than you think. And I'd just like to see... Again, I'm going to use this more than I normally would. I don't like to favour a tractor, but this is more a prototype and more about testing to see how it fares. Right, so I'm going to say my words. I'm going to see you guys and gals on the other side. Right, so we now need to replant the grass. I've completely done that one. And we'll do the strips, and then we can redo this and stuff. I'm still not sure. I was thinking, if we need to do... For the fish food factory, if we're going to do that... Now, I know we're doing the fertilizer factory first, but again, our herd needs to be made larger too. So it's sort of like, well, what is going to come first? We need the dairy... And if we do the dairy, then we got the straw mod, but we didn't get that much straw last year where it's worth us, like, you know, the straw factory is not going to bring in a lot of cash or anything like that. Let's just get rid of this log that's annoying me. No, yeah, you're going to have to, like, saw it anyway. It's not going to... It's better than I thought, actually. Sometimes it does better than you think if you just aim roughly for the wood. Right, so we've just sold our wood chips. That's a little pile left. Another year. Or it'll just disintegrate into the ground as mulch. If only it did. No, it's true. A bit of extra fertilizer. Right, so we ought to start... using some of the sheds properly for, like, putting tools. I suppose I've got to be honest, this is the one thing I've found a little bit sort of strange. So let's have a bit of a wander, because it is true, this is really not a very big implement. It's one of the smallest you could ever have. It's the size of a fertilizer spreader. Well, I'm not being nasty, but that's this reminds me of Oxygen David's when he did that oak bridge to begin with, and the size of everything was all wrong. It's beautiful modelling, but, like, it's not really usable. But the trouble is with something like this, is maybe it's not, but it's taking up room, and a farm, you can't have wasted space. Let's just get rid of that alt. Yeah, it's true. So what I'm saying is it's in a place where I would want to put my implements. The house likewise. Now this, on the edge of the farm, has this got better space? Right, okay. Again, this is not a very large tractor. Not saying it can't be done, but, like, this is one thing I've always said about... now, Cavalier Roy is good at this. Now, even if he makes a tight farmyard, he'll make it so you can get... And I've got to be honest, Blacksheep Modding is one of the best. But even Oxygen David has made such mistakes as this with Oakbridge. No, it wasn't Oakbridge. It was... Oh, what was the name of his map that I wasn't that fond of? This is not a wide box either, but you'd have to come in at this. You'd have to have something like the BIAB, right? Just look at the swing space. And this is not a bad steering track, so I'd have to go right to the left building where I'm actually hitting it, and then swing straight right as severely as I could. And there's still not enough swing space, so I'm going to have to tippy tappy. Now you're going to have to, like, do it like 5-point turn to get that to go in. And it's going to be just as finickety on the way out. Yeah, you got to... And that to me is, that's not a working building and a working farmyard. That's just a beautiful window dressing that's of no use whatsoever to me. That's all I'm saying. Now this doorway, this is a completely different kettle of fish. That's more like it. And that's why I wanted to properly investigate. Again, these aren't big implements though, so it sort of makes me think that Blacksheep Modding is aiming this towards small to medium implements. Because this is not even a very large tractor. As tractors go, the Xylon's quite a small tractor. In fact, I think that doorway proves my point. The scaling's wrong, because I'm going to hit my head on that thing there. Now, I think Blacksheep Modding has made a mistake with his scaling, or MA7 Studios, whichever one did this particular building, because, like, this is diminutive little people. Now, that one looks a bit more like it. Is that... Is that not a proper door then? Because that's right, and that would indicate the scaling was spot on, because that's about the right height. So what is that then? Is it to throw bags in? I suppose. Well, that could be sort of... Yeah, maybe. Maybe it is then. Again, that's why I like to take an objective view like that, because it is true. If that was meant for a human to walk through, then I would smash my head on the bricks there. But it's true. If it's not... Yeah, so there's two decent bays where you could also come in at a slight angle and pop that. But I'd imagine most of us would find that too much of a faff. So I would just use these two bays. So for quite a large shed, it's only got two usable bays. So let's go and have a proper wander again and see what more storage space we've got on this beautiful farm. Again, yeah, these look all fairly decent. I think each one of these can help. They're not very big, and I'm trying to be objective rather than like critical. I'm just trying to like sort of okay, there's a collision. Yeah, there's a collision somewhere there that you can quite clearly see that I'm making it. And again, the Xylon's not a very large tractor. Yeah, is it the beacon perhaps? Maybe. Okay, if it is the beacon, that means we should get the nodes in. But again, this is what I'm trying to say. The Xylon's actually quite a low tractor, which means that almost all the tractors' beacons would be in a higher place. So again, you're only going to get very low, small tractors in this particular building. So again, this to me does look a bit of a scaling issue. It needs to be slightly bigger. And I think that's what Oxygen Davy did with this. So if we get further in this time, it was the beacon that's like crashing. Oh. It's not the beacon at all then. And yet it's not... that's a little bit strange. Well, it is, but that is really very strange, I've got to be honest. Ah, so this is the chicken place, of course. Fantastic. So again, although you could use this as a shed, you're not going to wait, because this will be probably where you put your food for the chickens, I'd have thought, or maybe here. I love this when any kind of modder gives you a bit of a visual clue of where something is. That also looks quite natural, so it looks like very much, if we switch the zone markers on, I'm quite sure we're going to see that is where Blacksheep Modding is saying we should put the food. And if it is... Yeah, it is, and that's what I'm saying. I love natural markers. I do with all map makers that do that. A bit of an oil spill at the shop where you're supposed to, you know, like you or like some sometimes chevrons or just markers. It would be so nice. I always put grass markers down now. But obviously, the other thing I did find as well was this set down here. As beautiful as it is, as I was putting the baler in, I was thinking, all this clutter is making it... I know I could hide things with the objects hidden, but I don't like to overuse that, and I like to leave some clutter, natural clutter that it would be in a farmyard, because it does make it look more real. But I thought this was a step too far. It's really limited on, like, you're getting into it, although he has done it he has done it well in a way. Yeah, he has. When you look closely, only the handles of the wheelbarrow are really sticking out any sort of way more than it should be. So really, when I look at that, the baler was a bit more tricky because it's a big, bulky thing. I am tempted to get rid of this if we see a baler, a round baler. This is what I found before. It goes from standard size bales 240s to like huge, like 50 or 75 ton bales, and I'm like, it's just too much. I don't want 75 ton bales, but like a 15 ton bale, double the capacity like BB Mods has done, or 2 times or 3 times, that would be acceptable. But not like, I don't want it to be that big, so then you have to knock it to 240s, and then you may as well have any other baler. So to me it's just like a little bit Yeah, so yeah, this again, the wood and that, but he's left enough room that you can actually do that. This likewise. Apologies, I have to keep like stopping the cameras every now and again for me to have a coughing fit. Yeah, all of them are really quite well tastefully done. So you're not wasting things, but have got clutter that would appear so, you know, in places where the only one that I think has gone a little bit too mad is this one. So I'd be tempted to hide that. And only that, really. Yes. That's all I'm would want to shift, was just that one thing. And then I think that's quite normal and quite, yeah, quite acceptable, as you'd see in a farmyard where you're not trying to stop your space. But we are short on sheds, is my point. We've, you know, what we've got, like two bays on that big shed over there, and really only one. We've got these two very narrow bays. Now this, I stick to my guns. If you can't even get a fertilizer spreader in it, this is a waste. And so I don't know if this is one single building though. I think this might be joined. I'm not sure. Yeah, we will, because like that of all, I find of no use to us whatsoever, but it is taking up space that we could really do. Ooh, is that tree? I think it's just the illusion of draw distances. I think if you go closer, it's still there. Yeah, it is. So I think all the others, and I think that garagey section is part of that building, but obviously, again, with it being part of that building, sometimes when you placements, they're not perfect. Those other two that are important are accessible. This one, you could say it's a grain store, really, and then it's not supposed to be. Yeah. So why is that little building there? That's the garage. Now that garage is usable, I remember, and so is that all the lean-to section. Again, they will be for cars. We know this. So. Yeah, that's object storage. These are the calf sheds. That's ours. But that's my point. There's definitely need for more place for implements and tools. Now, I'm trying to think for the future of like when that little field there might not make a bad, because it's not going to be very expensive. I mean, I'm not talking about now. But I'm at the field 6. I would imagine it's 10 grand or something like that. Oh, wow. We must. What did we buy? Oh, is that little one down here? Wasn't it 129? Which is, yeah, similar size patch. It's yeah, but I suppose it's a different kind. Still not bad. 33,000. It's not a lot when you consider things. But for now, let's stick at least one shed back where we just deleted that one. Might need to bring the baler back. Now I'm going to try to go for a building that's more in keeping with the character of this, even if it means placing one that I normally would, because I want to try to keep in character with this. Although there are, yeah, let's have a look what the actual map has to offer. That we can put in that place. It's not going to cost us an absolute fortune because we can't afford it. That's the bottom line as well. So let's have a look. Shed with workshop. A lot of these, I tend to use mine a lot, but I'd like to keep in character with where we are. But also, again, that's got small bays. The middle bay's not too bad, but there are some very good value sheds. There's some of them have still got too large. I hate that many posts. Nice. This is one place where I severely miss Blacksheep Modding's original shed that I loved. 12,500 it was, all the way through FS19, all the way through FS22, no longer on FS25. It was such a beautiful little shed. Really, you can tell, you can see Blacksheep Modding's eye with a building like that, how good he is at, like, it just was such a fantastic. Now that is in keeping with the character of the... I could do 2 or 3 of those. How big are the... comparison with a single implement type building? I always find that when you do skew-ift things, it never works out quite like. You'd sometimes better off, I think, just to stick 2 square and then like avoid the third one that just takes up too much side room. Now this mod has thought of what I do with my sheds, and that is that he's not made the skirt very big, so you can actually put them very close to each other, because this is the only thing with the modding system is, of course you can do the free system, we all know that, where you could actually put them where the walls are overlapping, which I actually quite like the idea of that. Probably look completely worse from down at the floor, where usually you realise it's not quite as good as you thought it was. This is true. This is usually the case. I think we need to soften that blob. And then we'll take a bird's eye view from and if this doesn't get any, then I'm going to cry, because this is one of the smallest things and lowest that you could have. So it's not for very tall implements, but I've got to be honest, the other one wasn't either. So we just need to do some of this bit of floatiness where this was not really quite the right level. So we just need to level it from that front section here, which is a little bit taller. Still a little bit floaty. It is a tad. Right, okay, so we need to do 1 lift. Although this wasn't working the other day. Ah, now it is. So now that we've got that perfectly not lit, that's the bit you want to do the level from. It's got to be exact, otherwise it really isn't going to work, because it will go down to the lower section. And that should just do your leveling bit, so you can't see light under it, which always ruins it a little. So if we just carry on from that and then go around, we should do that like that. And then of course we need to regrass it. This is the only problem in it. You do one thing and then you undo. This is why I had to say mechanics rule is king, but really it's a real pain in the backside, all of the, because you've got to do things in different orders, and remembering how everything works together is a nightmare. So it is in keeping with the character. The stonework is very similar, so I don't... Yeah, it is. It goes in character. Even the wall, as I was placing, I was thinking, yeah, that actually is what I'm talking about. That's the kind of character I'm on about, to go with the farmyard, because mine are cheap metallic sheds. I mean, don't get me wrong, they're not much difference to... But I just wanted to keep in character with it. But yeah, the easy sheds, or that particular kind of shed, well, it's the same kind of building as that one, is my kind of sheds, made all from that material. I think I've even done the little one now in that same material. I think I swapped it over the other day. Yeah, because this was the one that set me off. Although the mechanics and the physics are totally wrong. Now, I presume this is probably more... You see, I took it as I'd like it like that, so that you could go under the lee of it. The trouble is that in real terms, that would never work, because that front section would fall. But if you were to do it against and it was a lean-to, then I presume that's what this was meant for. It's the old sheds pack though, so I think it's more meant as a lean-to, like that, on the side of a building that you would go under and use. But this was the one that originally... Was it this one? I'm sure it was. It's always been in. Or the one that I'm thinking of was in right at the beginning of the game. So it's... I'm sure it was. If it wasn't, it's one of the first mods that I got, because I've had it in FS25 right from the beginning. But this is the one that I looked at and I thought, I want to build a shed like that. But I'd recognise the fact that if you look underneath it, there's no support. There's no way that ceiling's not going to collapse, because there's no support. Now on mine, I have thought of this. The physics are correct. And this is the little one. Is it? I don't think you find it is. I think you'll find that's the medium one. Yeah, this is the little one. Yeah, this is the latest one that I've converted to the new... Again, it's not got the scaling right, but again, I think it looks better than any of the others. You can tell the scaling's wrong by just comparing the panelling from that to that. Although, of course, it is different panelling. It's still wrong for the size of the building. Yeah, really. So it needs to be scaled differently, but it still looks better than it did before. It was awful. Right, anyway, enough of this modding malarkey. You almost get sick of it. I try not to, but it's funny when you enjoy a subject, you tend to, and you're on a game where you're talking about the subject you love, you tend to waffle on about it. So I do apologise. And right, so what have we got to do work-wise? Let's crack on with doing that. We've got deers running around as if there are no such things as fences. Right, so then, animals, we did say that they needed feeding, didn't they? So we ought to be grabbing the milk. What is the milk? I'd imagine very little. They've only just been put in about 10 minutes ago. No, they must have been... No, it was overnight, wasn't it? So that is a point, actually. Yeah, do they need... I think we're going to give them a rest for one day. I think we've got enough stored in for that. How about the little one? Again, I think we can actually cope with... Now, it's interesting to see when that manure starts to get more full, will we start to see manure appear in here? Because I'm sure this is the manure place for this. Sure it is. They agree. Right, so it's 20 past. I don't think there's anything else we've got to sell, because all we did was that little bit of, I think it was wheat, wasn't it? So our major thing we need to do is the soybeans. Now, it is true, I can go away and I can design an oil factory. I've already got the olive oil factory. I can swap one of those and basically change that so it does sunflowers, olives and canola oil, because for future Let's Plays, anything that does fish food, we can actually do that. One thing I'd like to just check to see if this actually made any difference. Has it actually got any errors? Missing link never crawler. Ah, okay, that's so it is, yeah. So what I tried to do was stick another crawler on the front, but I think I'm gonna have to alter the back one a little as well, because or shrink the first one. Because if you look at that closely, I don't think I've got the space to get that same sized crawler in front. I think what I need to do is scale that down, move it back so it's almost touching that. Is it a weight? It is, yeah. Right, so it's almost touching the weight, and then stick the second one in there, but it's missing. I've missed something in my copying of the wheels. Right. I knew it wasn't going to be as easy as I thought it was. I really did, so yeah. Right, okay, well, that's a fail. So we've moved the animals, tick, we've done that, we've sold the woods, we bought our thing, we just need to go for a bit of time. Yeah, let's go through till about 2 o'clock, I should say. Have we ordered? No, stone picker, that was it. I knew there was something else I needed to do. We need to order stuff, and there was only one choice. I was thinking about this. I thought, you've got to choose the Scorpio 710. You've got to for this. It's just like just too highly appropriate. Right, okay, so then let's have a look in the sales. Another Fent. Yes, I really want to use the slurry spreaders, but they're broken at the minute. Whether it's a mod clash or whatever, it's every single slurry spreader, which makes me think it's more of a base game error. Yeah, that one we can do. Right. I suppose we could. No, I don't. This is what I keep saying. I don't want to be wasting everyone's time while I'm down the side. I don't want to be doing things that are going to make us a bit of cash but not take too long. Oh, that's right. I always forget. I think I'm sure I bought 2 vehicles. That appears as a dot. Apologies, I'm not as talkative as I normally am. I must admit, I'm flummoxed a bit under the COVID. It really is poleaxing me a little bit, if I'm honest. I feel a bit better today than I did over the weekend, though. I could hardly concentrate. Wow, that was only bought for cheap as well. So 352, and let's go through till 6ish, I should say. Now this is a very nice tractor. It is. I don't know if you. It isn't your normal JCB as you would think of a JCB. It really is a tractor. It's not supposed to be like a 4-wheel drive super duper. Well, if it is, it doesn't succeed. To me, it steers us. I mean, JCB's always mostly been one of those tractors that's sort of very special, as in for steering, and this seems to go against. Still fast is the one thing you can expect from it, but apart from that, it's just a tractor. Very good value, though, I might add, for like such a beast of a 282 horsepower tractor. And if we had got a bit more cash, I would be tempted. But we've already got quite a few. Well, the aim is a 275 plus 50% to about 325 horsepower. That's a nice thing as well. It is. I really do rate that a lot, the Mengele. It's really nice. I've had it on a couple of Let's Plays, and it's, yeah, beautiful bit of kit. We could actually grab that with it, it's true. Right, let's grab those 2 then. In fact, no, let's go a bit further into the night. We've still got a couple of £100. Let's go through till 12 o'clock at night. Now then, that's just a standard, isn't it? Ah, it's been altered. So these are to accept the normal. I presume you can buy that stuff. Yeah, that's in there. The fish additive stuff to make the... That's, yeah, herbicide has been altered on the map. It's not bad value, is it? And it's got a hitch as well. I think, well, yeah, I'd sooner tug you have one that does that and you can do more than one job. Right, now let's go through till 4 o'clock in the morning-ish. Ooh. Oh, fantastic. Brilliant. Well, again, I think what we're going to do is buy and sell what left that we can and then sell everything that we can't. You know, like, then see what money we've got when we sold everything that we can afford, because we have been just buying. Oh, we can't quite afford that. All right, okay, so let's do some buying and selling and see if we can get that beautiful tractor as well. Yeah, one of these times I'll actually own this. The amount of times Biggins, I get one of his beautiful classes, and have I got it on one Let's Play? No. I got 2 or 3 in the sales on the early bits that I would have loved, but it would have cleared us out, because they're all obviously quite expensive tractors. Even when they're in the sales, they're still like 200 grand, and there's no way you can afford that kind of a loss in the early days when you're trying to build your money up. So typically, when I could have afforded one, they weren't appearing in the sales, and I'd bought 2 or 3 of them before that, so it's just one of those annoying things. I love this. It's such a nice low profile. Just stop for a sneeze again. Ugh. Oh, I've got to be careful which one to sell now. Oh dear. Yeah, then we're getting there now. So the liquids handling one. Oh, it is actually quite a small tank on it. I didn't realise it was that small. It's small. It is about the MKS 8s on it. Yeah, about an 8-tonner, I think. I must admit, almost all of the tankers in the game are all derivatives of the MKS 8 and the MKS 32. Very few original tanks. Because it's got a lot of nice banding, but I suppose what I mean is that there's a lot of other ones that could be done, but they're nearly all been derived from this model over the years. Which is why I think sometimes Giants get a bit angry at what they would consider the lack of originality from modders. You know, like, just to regurgitate what Giants have done, which is why I think this year in FS25 they have actually got quite a bit. You know, like, we're not going to pay you if your work... And I can understand that, because they're basically paying you for their own work. I mean, admittedly, you've done something with it, but what I mean is, I'm sure that they really want to see, you know, like... Because they have made it difficult for modders to do that, but people still go into the blender. I've done it myself, obviously. And you'll strip the parts out, and it'll take you a long time to do it. I can still get all the constituent parts from this model. But what I mean is, certain things like a tanker, where it's only a tank, you could make that in any kind of blender by doing 2 cylinders and putting a ball at the end of it and making it round, and you could bevel it and do things like that, or do extrusions like I've done on mine. It's, you know, and I think that's what I'm saying. It's the originality aspect that I think Giants have got angry about, or I won't say angry because that's you can't really put an emotion on someone, can you? But it's the first time they've actually done what they've done. Right, so 397988. Oh, wow, that is a really good. Look at that, it's half price. I know, but we still can't afford it. It's typical, as I said, it is true. If we were at 700 grand now, I would like say, yeah, we'll have it. But right now, this very minute, like to take 222 off our 397 would leave us a little bit short. We need like it's priorities, isn't it? We need a milk, and so let's grab that because that we want, and that is in our price range, and a horrible colour, a little bit pasty. Right, so let's repair the stone picker. Yes, one of these times, Biggins, I shall own one of these buttes. I have had his, now I recognise this fact that Biggins was a really good modder, right from his modelling that he's done on his, every single mod I ever saw, the detailing, the animations and all of that, I thought this guy knows what he's doing. If it's a guy, I'd imagine it is, but you can't always tell from a name, can you? Whereas like Missy B and Omatana, I always thought they were, and then I saw Mr. Silly P's interview with Omatara, and I thought, well, yeah, she's a lady. I was right all along, but Missy B, obviously, that's also obvious that she's a lady. But what I mean is there's all the modders that could be, and you don't know. But again, the name is what you're going on, really. Remember not to sell the stone picker. That is for us. Fantastic. Let's go and sell that last thing, and then we shall see what we shall see. And like, we'll go to the morning. I think we'll leave that. It's got to be a session, another session finished. I'm trying to keep these in sort of nice timelines. I'm not sure whether this is going to be a long one. I seem to have lost track of time and my ability to. Wow, this is it is a fast telehandler. Much faster than any telehandler. Yeah, and this mod, Yaka, as well, he's done things. And I was surprised because he's got away with it. Because there's always been store for this kind of super mod where someone's increased the horsepower. It represents the fact that people do. I mean, what was that? Motorheads, things like that. People who mod things just because they can. They want to make it better than the original. It's the shell of a normal one, and that's what it represents. Like the chipping mod and all these type of things. It's a bit petrol heads. That's it. I remember to let go, otherwise it will cause issues. Yeah, and I think Yak has sort of done that with this particular telehandler that I'm going to be using quite frequently. And that's sort of like what I tried to do with the BIAB, was that exactly thing, was to soup it up and make it into something that's quite special. Obviously, cost-wise, it is a prototype. If you were going to put it on the open market, it would be quite a bit more, but it's cost me what it costs to make, and the R&D would be considerably more. Right, so 392681. Let's go through till the proper morning. Let's go through right till like 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, I think, on a February. Right, brilliant. We'll check the sales one last time, and then we'll leave it here. Next session we will do... Oh, wow. Right, we might. I think that would finish us off nicely. If is it's not, I know we can't afford it now. Well, how much would it cost us to go 261? Be 91,000. Not sure. Sometimes you can get a little bit lucky on the sales, so I think we might just sell that one. You can get them where they're not usually top, but we might. Sometimes you can get a middle one that's a little bit high in that. We'll see. We should see. I think we'll just sell that one. I'm trying to think. Do we need any more tractors? We've only got one really big one. Then we've got two BIABs, which are 325s. But again, special form factor. You can't class them. They're not perfect for every job. They need weights to actually equalise their mass in comparison to the equipment that they're actually working, which I didn't want to change that unrealistically. So you've always got to bear that in mind. They're not made. They're not an 8-ton tractor. You know, they're not a 12-ton tractor for a large. They really are a light tractor. Well, we're back up to 400 odd grand again, though. It just goes to prove that just keep checking your sales and just like buying and selling the odd thing really does pay. I do sort of, that's one thing I do like about Giants. I know they've sort of wrecked the game in some ways, but they do try and change what is in the game, and I was so glad that they didn't get rid of the sales. I thought this was an aspect of the game that I was like so sweating that from FS22 to 25, oh no, they're going to get rid of the sales. I thought, oh, well, I could live without it, but it really is. And this new tweaking of the sales, they've sort of like ramped it up a little bit, and I really like what they've done. So we'll buy that and sell it. And being as a running down anyway, we'll stick that on the front and take it. I mean, because it's not an extra run. And I suppose if you're going to look at that, you could also then grab that on the back and sort of tow that as well. This is true. You could look at it like that because it's only still one run. This is what I was sort of saying, that there's a sort of thing that doesn't break my rules of like cost, because we're going down with this one tractor anyway to sell it. So if you put two things that are only going to earn you a few hundred, it doesn't really matter. It's more about the extra runs that these would cost, because neither of them are particularly expensive and neither of them will bring a lot of cash in. But every little helps. Yeah, this case is another one that's been one of the most heavily modded. I must admit, it is one of my favourite all-time tractors, but it's nothing special. It's a strange tractor. Its horsepower range, it was one of the things that fully converted me to recognise its potential. Yeah, it was the tract Ravenport. It's off from the map's name that I can't remember. And on Ravenport, you got given two of the 7250s, and I think they were 150 horsepower or something like that. And I thought, oh, these are really low horsepower. So I'd sell the two, and I'd buy one New Holland 175. But after a bit of playing the game, I recognised the fact that actually if you'd have upgraded that case, it can be a 261 horsepower for quite about 100 grand it was, and that was still cheaper than going to the 175. Now, that New Hollands are always nicer steerers, but 175 versus 260, it speaks for itself. You need more horses sometimes. So really, all I needed to do was perhaps sell one of the cases, upgrade that one, and then wait for what else. You couldn't wait for the sales line, but you could have just basically for a couple of 100 grand, when you made some money, upgraded the two cases to 261s, or just kept the other one as a 150 and then you know, that really would have been quite a good sort of thing to do. Anyway, we're up to 452,721. So yeah, that really was a good little spree. So I think, let's have a look at the animals. I know we need to feed them this coming session. It was more about the milk that I was interested in, see how that is going. Yeah, it's beginning to get there. The super that we're going to put down on the mat, though, will really seriously hammer that. So I think the next thing is we need to increase the head of cattle, which we will do next session. So all that remains to be said for this session is thank you very much for watching. Truly do hope you're going to stick with me on this journey. And I'm going to say goodbye for now.